who would have thought here at Wrexham to have the Australian anthem? So many of the crowd joining in. You can see lots of Kangaroos beanies and Australian jumpers. All manner of clubs represented here today. The Aussie side, Slater, Morris, Hayne, Inglis, Boyd. Isn't there some try-scoring potential across that five? Thurston and Cronk, Scott, Smith, Tarmo, Bird, Friday and Gallen, Cherry Evans, Papali, Fafita and Parker. Remains to be seen whether this will be the 17 to take them through the semi-finals, and from their perspective, hopefully the final. And for the Tomahawks, for this historic day for them, their side is Freed, Veramo, Welsh, Garvey, Peterson, Paulo, Priestley, Offerdale, Luani, Pettybourne, Newton, Shipway, Howard, and off the interchange bench, Samoa, Hifo, Cantoni and Solowai. Terry Madison has done a terrific job. Very popular man here in the UK. Called in as a coach just 13 days out from the start of the World Cup. Has come in with a very simplistic approach that he just wants to assist the players to play the best of their ability. And that's all you can ask for. And what happens from that, we'll see what turns out. It will be Australia to kick off. Well, this is it. Australia versus the United States. Henry Perinara, referee, as we've ventured through the tournament. He was a player.
Touch of the football in the first two sets of 6, and then they used a little bit of width to go to the try line, Andrew.
Yeah, they didn't have their spacing right there, the USA side, didn't they? They were quite tight around that ruck area. That obviously the offload pass there to Cameron Smith, and like I said, that took out a number of defenders. And once he promoted the ball out wide there to Inglis, and he managed to skip across, he just sucked in and engaged 2 defenders, and then created the space on the outside for Hayne there.
Well, there's a trick shot, if you like, played. You saw from the ground level replay, Inglis sweeping around to the right. I mean, England, New Zealand, were you expecting that? You know, blokes defending on the left side. You're going to suddenly see this big bloke, this giant Inglis running at you on the right-hand side and the left-hand side.
Well, I guess that's the value of having all these fullbacks in the back line, is that they can run both angles. I mean, Jared Hayne as well. So now you've got 2 centres who can pop up both sides of the field and equally adept at playing both sides of the field as well. The odd man out here is Brett Morris. Poor old Brett Morris. It's the only fullback not in the back line.
But has played some fullback, you know, with the St George Illawarra club. Come on. So Thurston first kick from the sideline. He loves them from out there. His first one, well, that was a floater. A floater from JT.
Got right underneath the ball, sat right up. Wanted a 3-iron, hit it like a 9-iron.
And not of the Austin Powers kind either. The floater from Jonathan Thurston as Hayne sprints over to score in the corner. And a 4-0 scorer. Just quickly on that, Hayne ahead of Tate. Were you surprised?
Oh, really surprised. I think Tate, for me, is the postman. He delivers the mail every week, week in, week out.
Short in-goal areas here, and as we learnt from 2 weeks ago, there's an incredible undulation in them, so very hard to pull up a kick in the in-goal area with a run-off as Tarmo has the ball, and again, 3 in the tackle, a nice drive from Shipway and Polo there as well, the captain. Tarmo getting through plenty of work early. Now Friday, he'll love it. Brisbane Broncos captain. Back almost to the 30-metre line. The gap between the 30 and the 40 at this ground is probably about 6 or 7 metres. But that's not to worry about. They just don't want to go over the football line markings. We've learnt that. Smith onto Cronk, inside to his man. Slater doesn't quite pull it off. America had a chance to run away. We've got to knock on both ways. Thought Daniel Howard was away there.
Yeah, I think Pettybourne there, he sunk in at marker there, and that created the space then back because he couldn't tie back in on the inside. And this pass sticks here. Billy Slater's through.
It's not often you see that go to ground. Smith to Cronk, back on the inside to Slater. That pass just reaching out behind him, Billy Slater, possibly overrun it.
It's the old little Melbourne play, isn't it?
It has worked many times, no question. 4-0 scoreline. And the United States thankful to have some football. Here they go from the scrum, and Peterson with it. 34 years of age, this will be it. Ending the career today, he said the knee can take no more. And what a way to go out with a match against Australia at a World Cup. On for Newton. Met front on there. The tackle of Inglis and Scott. The Americans 30 metres away from the line. Offerdale has been a star performer for them. Big work rate for the Americans. Up in the front row, and a penalty goes the way of the Tomahawks. Well, for history's sake, do you want to put 2 on the board, Daryl, from right in front?
No way. Not this American team. That's not the opportunity they want. I want to see them play with some risk in the set of 6 as well. Do something early. Break it up.
Pettybourne took the first charge. It was ferocious. Paulo working that left fringe. Thaiday and Cronk across there with Hayne. America, they get a shot. It'll be played by Howard. 10 from the line. They go to the short side. The Australian defence tested on the goal line. This is good. They're asking, oh, I don't know what happened there. The dummy half, he just ran the mousetrap play and got in the way of the defence. Interesting. Almost made a gridiron screenplay or something. As Alawani goes left side, Paulo's kick. Oh, it's barely a kick. Do you call that a kick or you call that a kick?
I think some of his touches have been brilliant at this tournament. This one's one he won't want to have again. He's had a whiskey.
No, that doesn't even get the K out.
That's a whiskey. He's totally missed the boot.
It's a fish without a knife. You know, that's a whatever.
Maybe that's one for the video ref to see if there just was the slightest touch.
Yeah. Disappointing end of the set there for the USA. It was a great opportunity for them. And it was a great point you made, Daryl. You know, they've got to play football. You've got to chance your arm, you know, when you're playing these sort of sides. You've got to ask questions of this Australian side.
4-0. And Thurston has the Australians coming out of trouble. There is Greg Bird right there. I mentioned the stat right from the very first day. The number of players of the year from their NRL clubs. We've got half a dozen on show today in this Australian lineup. Here's one of them, Boyd, going to Thurston. And now Scott, there's another one. 5 short of halfway. Australia in possession and treating their opposition with respect. They're just not going to play devil-may-care football. Gallen hit and spin and well tackled by Offerdale, whose stats against Scotland were big, 34 tackles. Cronk's going to bomb from 45 metres out. Thaida's offside here on the chase. He's called out. And Freed does the job again.
Well done.
And away goes Christian Freed. Go, young customer.
Go, young man. There's a big bomb as well, was floating in the air. Didn't quite get the spiral on it. Drifted away just before it got to Freed. Took it well.
Garvey on the run back there. A number of American-born players in this squad, not just qualifying through parent or grandparent heritage. Including Clint Newton, born in South Carolina.
We said they want to play with some risk. This ball from Newton's an absolute ripper. I was going to praise the work of Priestley out of dummy half. I so love him. He's like a snaky little bob runner in there. And this right in, I think he actually, I thought he controlled it.
Yeah, I don't think he actually dropped that, but he's been deemed to have, which is unfortunate there for the USA. He's getting a little bit of joy down that right edge there.
Andrew Henderson joining us in commentary today, playing for Scotland last night against New Zealand. On deck in commentary today, our broadcast around the world to our partners across the United Kingdom, Premier Sports and Sky Sport New Zealand, 7 in Australia. We welcome you to the coverage just after 1 o'clock local time here in Wales today for this second quarter final, and a penalty goes the way of the Australians.
You've got to feel, Vossi, that Australia will be really enjoying this mid-afternoon game too. 1 o'clock kick-off here and a fine and hard pitch in Wales. The last 2 matches have been bitterly cold performances in Limerick and also St Helens, where the conditions have been less than favourable.
Keep working, Eddie. Hold on, mate.
The Australians move down to 25 metres out from the Tomahawks line, and Gallen takes the first run at them. So another test for the American defence as Shipway and Pettybourne came up with the tackle. Look at Thaiday. He wants to wrestle. Here he comes. Slavin Sam comes one himself from Luani. He says, do you know the way to Oldham?
Good bit of football there from the Australians. A nice weather from Smith. He gets out, faked the little grubber kick, but then decided to hit out the back there and tipped on there to GI, who just shows and goes and gets over the line very easily. But again, as you pointed out, Darryl, it was the tackle previously that sucked the USA defence in. They just couldn't readjust quick enough to get their numbers right. And unfortunately, because I thought defensively that set, they were pretty good.
We mentioned the word spirit before the game, and we want to see America play with a lot of spirit. And you can have the spirit taken away from you, courtesy of tries being scored, but if they keep coming up and in defence and put their best foot forward, we're going to be in for an exciting match.
Well, the crowd giving some cheers here. I mean, Thurston, he's just about gone through the whole wardrobe here. He's had a change of jumper, then he's had the boots done. Does he want a manicure as well?
He's heading off to the parade ring, like a racehorse before he goes out.
Well, that's it. So the first here today from Wrexham. Thurston with this kick. Missed the first one. Wasn't a good strike from JT, and we've seen some supreme kicking from him. The night in St Helens, you know, it just, I don't know whether it conveyed in the pictures that we broadcast around the world, but you know, the rain was coming in sideways. I don't know. He landed 2 from the sideline on that night. They may be the best kicks I've ever seen. I remember Hazem El Masri doing one down at Cronulla one day, bending the ball like a banana.
Sometimes you feel like you've got a remote with the football. Let's see if he's got a remote this time.
He'd already scored one, trying to time it off the charge down. He almost had another there against the green and gold. Wow.
Hey, come on, another set.
Wow. Paulo. Scott with the ball. Wasn't it a scramble back from Slater to get to it?
Oh, I thought he was going to get there too, Paulo. He sort of managed to sort of shoulder charge Slater out the way here, and I thought he's going to get this, but just couldn't quite get there.
And what's more that really hurts is Australia get another set of 6.
Correct.
You know, from near thing, could have been American try. Now they've got to defend against these blokes again. And up comes Sam.
Good contact there.
Just inside the American half. And the ball's gone back. Thurston's got it. And Thurston kicks downfield. And fielded at the back by Freed. So this set starts for the Tomahawks 20 metres out from their own line. They were actually invited to the first World Cup back in 1954 by the French. They had no registered players, but France thought it would look good if we had America playing at a World Cup. On the back of the fact that there'd been an All-Stars lineup the previous year, Tour Australia, but there were no registered players, and the invitation went by the by. So they could have been here. They could have been part of the World Cup, the first one.
I think more importantly, what about the impact of this performance of this World Cup in America moving forward for the game? I mean, this could be the start.
Tough country started there. Yeah, well, they've got the domestic comp going. They've had a bit of a civil war there as far as the league is concerned, as now Welsh offloading, or trying to. He's not big, but he's got some ticker. The right centre for America, born in Dallas. Now inside the 40, the Americans, and you can see there how small the gap is between the 40 and the 30. It means that the field is probably only about 92 metres long. As Priestley across to Paulo, and he's going almost offloads, finished off at the death there by Scott and Tamo, the North Queensland Cowboys front rowers. Last tackle, Priestley to bomb here. Slater getting across. Morris has called for it, and Morris has lost it. America have got their chance. It's a knock-on against the Kangaroos.
Well.
Great kick from Priestley. What about the height on it? Gave everyone an opportunity to be in the zone. Peterson's one of the chasers. Get a pretty good shield, actually. Morris, courtesy of Jared Hayne, puts in there. Priestley with a little bit of a push. It's a big thigh, though.
Well, he's got to take that, doesn't he? He's got to take that as Morris.
I'll be happy to see what the USA come up with here. Something.
Let's play some football, boys.
Yeah. This is a chance. The big line set out right side here. All the way out to Faremo on the right wing. Here they come. The Americans. Priestley to Freed. Early ball for Welsh. And good tackle from Boyd in from the wing. 7 from the line. Quick play the ball. And still on. Faremo has spun away twice. And Faremo giddy as he gets within 1 metre of the line. Luani may have a little shot at them. He takes them to the right. Priestley, dummy, and Bird came up. Ball and all tackle. Bird on the halfback for America. Trying to get their composure going here. Priestley's been hurt in that. He limps back to his feet. High ball. It's anyone's. They've still got it though. As Garvey latched onto it. Brought it back across field. Still with the ball 15 metres out. That was tackle number 4. Paulo puts his stamp on it. Pettybourne with it. Good tackle front on from Smith. Last again for the Tomahawks. In the zone. Almost the end zone, you could say. Offerdale's got the ball. And sadly, the set of 6 ends.
Yeah, it's a shame there. Trying the running play on the last play. I don't think that option was on. Probably should look to roll it in behind there and try and get a repeat set. But you've got to credit the Australian line speed there, getting off their goal line. You know, really getting up hard and putting pressure on the USA halfbacks there. They could promote that football where they wanted it to go.
I would have so liked to have seen Paulo set his players up on the left-hand side there and had some runners at holes, even on the last option. He's got a superb long pass and he's picked up many runners on that fringe in this tournament so far.
I'll tell you something though, boys, that Faramo, the winger, looks a strong human.
Yeah. Blisey straight up with Mackay in Queensland as now the ball with Smith. And Australia now back inside the American half. They only lead by 10 through 17 minutes, 10-0. Another high ball for Freed to defuse, and he's done that. And he's done it all game, whether it's been low ball or high ball. He's had the answers, Christian Freed. So he can be proud of his performance so far in this elite company. And this is Shipway carrying the ball up.
This is also a good period of play for America as well. Taking it to the big guns. We'll go set for set with you. Little slap at the ball from Jared Hayne here. He was Sideshow Bob. He's now the real deal. Matt Peterson.
Teams playing for a place in the semi-finals next week. Still tickets available for those in this part of the world for Wembley, and good seats at that. You get a chance to go to that iconic venue for not just one game but two, a doubleheader there. And the Rugby League World Cup website has all the details. There's some heavy defence again and driving defence at that on Shipway. Pettybourne for another run. Will link up with Wigan next year in the Super League. You can see Fafita now on for Tamo.
Got some skills as well on the week, the big fella. We'll get a replay of it shortly for sure. Slater thought it had gone dead. Bounces back into the arms of Inglis. Slater out from the 5, makes a good 10. Here it is here. This is a risk and creative play you really need to play with. Slater thinks it's going dead. He gets that in time, I believe. Wow. Lucky Inglis is there.
You know, if Taylor Welsh follows through, he just falls on it for the try, but he'd given up on it.
Inside.
There's kick downfield and Freed's got a chase. Thurston's leading the chase for the Kangaroos. Freed will look up and see a posse of Kangaroos, and Thurston knocks him off his feet.
Jonathan Thurston get into the action with a shoulder.
Now Peterson across, and the Americans, they're scrambling to get back on side. There's barely a handful back to take the runs out of trouble here. They are under a bit of assault here, the Tomahawks, as Garvey took that one. Time to bring some of these big boys off the bench in, and they have got some players in Soloi in particular. He's probably the biggest in the American squad, to be honest. Les Soloi been linked with any number of clubs following this World Cup. As it goes back for Priestley. His kick from inside the 40. And oh, what a pickup from Slater. How easy did he make that look? He's just shelling peas at the back there. That was coming at him at speed.
Last 5 minutes for Australia. You know, they've been under a little bit of pressure. USA have had a few sets with the football. They've been a little bit sloppy, giving away a couple of penalties, and obviously Morris coughing up possession early as well. So they've done well to get through that there, and fantastic individual brilliance here from Morris.
A little bit of redemption for Brett Morris. So we see Tim Sheens chatting away with his staff. Just got onto the outside of Michael Garvey, who just couldn't go with him, didn't have the speed to do so, caught too far infield, and then backed himself again. Nothing better than seeing a winger back himself against the fullback and go straight past Freed. Well done.
His father, Brett, his father, Steve Morris, nicknamed Slippery, played for Australia from the bush, one of the last to do so. He was as quick as any player off the mark that I think I've ever seen play rugby league. You know, over that 10 to get you through the gap. Terrific little player. And he's got a couple of big, tall sons who play in the back line. Thurston's hit the upright. I fear for those uprights today. I think we might end up with a game with two blokes with their arms out, standing there as the post. Smith's hit them full on. Now Thurston's done it, and they're still shaking. Watch Hayne here, too, in back play. You know, that's how injuries can happen.
Just goes for the hurdle, clips the top of the rail, pulls him down.
1 from 3 off the boot of Thurston, and a 14-0 scoreline through 22 minutes, but no shortage of entertainment here at the World Cup as Scott returns here. So far, New Zealand winning through to the semi-finals. They're on the England side, England and France side of the draw, and Australia and the USA on the side of the draw.
Going to read the right act now, the Australians, aren't they? You know, last 3 tries now in the last, what, 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, it's happening fast and furious now, sadly, for the Americans. Struggling to engage in battle now. It's if it was tug of war, they're well and truly outnumbered at the moment. They're desperate for possession. 24-0 scoreline, 26 minutes gone. They've had a few cracks at the line. Oh, look, they could have jagged a try. They could have had 2 tries, to be honest, from the chances they've created. But, you know, Australia get any sort of share of possession and a flow of possession, and this is what they're going to do. And from Tim Sheens' view, he wants them to go on with it. They can't show mercy to one of the minnows. So Thurston's kick, is he hitting them as he wants? No, he's not. Well, I don't know what's going on. I can't say it's a breeze factor here. It's not wet, it's not cold. Maybe he needs it wet, cold and windy.
Well, the last one's jagged into the right, or the left post, should I say. And this one's faded past the left post. You know, on their day off on Thursday, Australia, a few of them went out to a track and were driving Porsches and Lamborghinis. So you feel they got the need for speed. A lot of it's coming.
And Fifita with it. And some of the American players on their day off, they went north up to Scotland. They went up to Edinburgh, I believe. As now Scott has travelled his way to centre field. Front rowers have done their job so far for the Kangaroos, both today and in previous matches. Thurston, they're looking a bit thin, although Newton does well to hang on there with Priestley. Just beyond the 40-metre line now at the Kangaroos. And another run for Gallen. Nice and straight, but again, Newton was there in defence. That time was Soloway. And Smith kicks. A very controlled set from the Kangaroos. Freed is forced back to his own goal line. Again, chases, led by Thurston. And America have to trudge back to get onside. Look at them come back. There's 6 or 7 struggling to get back to take a run.
You can see the juice now coming out of it.
They are more than capable of doing the job, but Thurston's the #1 pick, and he's converted there. And the Australians hit 30. Cronkers held off the challenge of Daly Cherry Evans, who was man of the match against Ireland, but Cherry Evans to come off the bench today. Parker's getting ready to come on for the Kangaroos. Does America get us into the next passage? And we're almost at the 30-minute mark. And this is Fifita. Fifita so damaging. Smith, Inglis, they're away again. He's got Boyd on the outside. Oh, Priestley's almost pushed into tomorrow. Morris has got, Boyd's got the ball back in field. And then trying a fend on Howard. The Inglis fend, Craig Priestley, welcome to it. Smith, and now for Papali, the Australian side with depth right through their squad. And now Papali's lost at penalty. Nothing going the way of the Tomahawks now.
I was just about to give Clint Newton a bit of a rap in his defence, how he'd been sort of hanging on. He was one of the Americans who had been hit and sticking. And then Fifita gets the ball from the kick-off and goes straight over the top of him. Offloads the ball, and Inglis gets the charge down here.
I've got to say that the Fifita and Papali, I think they've really added a real injection since coming off the bench. Really got him going forward well.
Oh, well, how do they hang on here? Look at Fifita. He's hungry. He wants the ball, and he takes 2 across field, and they get him down, and that's not easy. Kangaroos getting a big run of possession here. Gallen to Bird. They all... Oh, yes, the old-fashioned shot there from Offerdale. Hung out the washing.
Yes, the old shepherd's crook.
Oh, dear. We're seeing it all. They are tired, aren't they? They are very much on the rack here. You know, another try is at the mercy of the Australians. Played by Papali. Smith. And there is Cronk. He sighted an opening. Priestley and Newton shut it down.
Shorty on the left.
Right on the goal line. Smith and Gallen. Around the back goes Inglis. Fend and fend. He's tackled by 3 and still fending. Almost lost it. Boyd, Bird, Gallen. Straightens, goes across field. Gallen will be held by Offerdale. And Soloway, he's going to get his head to the post padding. Tackle number 4, they'll do well if they get through this set. Smith, deep, Thurston, Hayne will try and set it up for Morris. Can't do it that time. Good stuff, the Tomahawks. Last tackle. Kangaroos, Thurston, he's going to look for Slater. Here comes Billy. Ball is batted back to Newton. Well done, the Tomahawks.
Yeah, great stuff there from the Tomahawks. Under a lot of pressure in this last 10 minutes, and they defended their goal line admirably there. Fantastic work there from the Tomahawks.
And I think it was little Priestley who got the bat back, wasn't it?
He had Slater jumping.
Kick.
You wouldn't have thought that. A bit of a mismatch, that one, but Priestley comes out on top.
Like he was blocking the boards in basketball there. He got up and tapped it back. Now, having done all that defence, I don't know whether there's too many with their hand up here to take a big charge. Newton does his best, but, you know, 5 tackles, and I haven't seen any of those big runs that started the match as Polo will try and kick him out of trouble from the 40 straight down to Morris. How they would love a Kangaroos mistake now. Well, he's fallen into that. Look,
yeah, there was no intent or malice on that one there. I think that was just momentum and just.
This is self-inflicted by Brett Morris. As he goes down into the tackle, sure, there was a little bit of a movement to drop him back over the top of the shoulder, but then he's just rolled over.
He's falling back, though. Because Morris is running that hard, he hasn't got control of it. He's falling. It's just, I think self-inflicted is a great way of describing it, Daryl. It's just unfortunate. It happens. Don't give him a ban, please. Don't give him a ban.
What, give Brett Morris a ban for dangerous tackle on himself? That'll be an odd one. Out of the semi-final.
Nothing surprised me at this World Cup, Mossy.
Oh, Andrew Henderson, he's on the high horse after that suspension. The Scotsman Ferguson, 2-game ban.
Parker on.
Smith on to Thaiday. Australia with a chance again, 21 metres out from the line. They're setting up camp there at the moment, the Kangaroos. Cronk deep, Thurston, little bobble, has lost it. The Americans will get to it. And they're going to take a knock on it. It's the Tomahawks. Taylor Welsh ran through. Henry Perenara.
Did he play at the football?
Well, you've got to believe the arm of Priestley hasn't actually hit that. Maybe it's jogged the shoulder of Thurston as he's gone to the line to set the block play up to throw late. So, not a great call if you're in the White House. American colours on.
Some good memories of people who followed Kangaroo tours back in the day. Gene Miles coming over here and playing for the Australian side. Big Mal. There's some champions.
What about Mark McGaw? About the same shape, Greg Inglis.
So Morris has got 3. I was just mentioning when they played back in 2004, Australia on their way home from an overseas Tri-Nations tournament, and America led 18-0 after 25 minutes. They led 24-6 at half-time. You thought this is the biggest upset result ever on the cards, but then Australia got over the top in the second half. Matty Bowen scored 3 tries for Australia as they emerged with a win 36-24. But here they are 9 years on, playing for Big Bickies at the World Cup. And Thurston, another kick, which is floating again. He's missed again, Jonathan Thurston. Well, analyst, doctor of goal kicking, Darryl Halligan, please explain.
You both turn and look, don't you? Work that one out, they say. Again, I think he's got too much under the football, and the height seems to be a little bit of a problem. Just about struggles to get to the post. There we see the mistake or the fault from USA, deemed to have touched the football, and then the finishing touches from the mighty machine, Greg Inglis. But I agree with you, Thurston not having a happy day out.
Not a good strike. His first kick of the day was much like that. Doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot on it. And Parker and Papali with it. Temperature about 10 degrees today here in Wrexham. And now 1:45 local time on a Saturday afternoon. And tonight we'll have England versus France for you. Big occasion for the French. Didn't they provide us a night on Monday then in Perpignan against Samoa? Not a huge emotion in that match.
Absolutely.
I'd love to take that crowd right round the world from Catalans. They were terrific.
Real carnival atmosphere, isn't it, down there?
And now Bird with the ball and almost snuck a forward pass there to Tamo. Last it is for the Australians. Smith and Cooper Cronk going to try another kick and turns Peterson around. Sideshow Bob's got a bit of trouble. And Sideshow Bob takes it over the dead ball line, as he was affectionately known when those locks were a little longer. A little more battered now. Old Sideshow.
The final kick from Cooper Cronk, a la perfect. Finding space and really hard surface here. We've seen a lot of different bounces when there's been a wet surface on these soccer pitches. You get a lot of slide on the ball and it skids and then holds. But when it's dry, we've seen some really high bounces. The ball bounces pretty much dead and then finds some life.
So from beneath the sticks, the line drop out from Priestley. Fielded by Cronk. We've got 2 minutes remaining first half. Here comes James Tamo. Picks out Pettybourne to run at. And good contact there. Also on now, Roman Hefo. As left side they work with Bird. Priestley, he's probably missed 8 tackles, but he's kept coming on. All 8 misses. He's come back to have another crack, Priestley. He's tried his best out in front of Cronk. Well, that's knocked on. Slater to it. They're going to say knock back. Australia will maintain possession. Retain it just outside the 20. Cronk to Thaiday. What about the number of tackles Australia have had inside?
Cronk, he put the kick where it needed to go. Morris timed his run to perfection. Gets a great leap, catch, and finishes. I mean, to be fair, Peterson, was he a little bit out of position there, Darryl? I think he probably was. Did he need to be that infield behind the centre there, tucked in behind the centre? Probably not. You know, he might have given himself a better chance if he'd held a bit more width and came in to attack the football.
And last kick for Thurston. He's jumping around. He's missed again. Well, he might be up here in the commentary box getting tips from Daryl Halligan at half-time, looking for a bit of divine guidance. A first half where there's very little default, with the exception of the goal kicking. Is that right? 3 from 8? 3 from 8 from Jonathan Thurston. 8 tries scored by the Kangaroos at half-time. And there you have it here at Wrexham. Australia 38. And the United States Tomahawks 0, half-time.
Coverage brought to you by BetDAC, the sports betting exchange.